And you might be horrified, to use a Jen McCabe word, when you hear about it. Okay, let's go.
This was the Aruba incident, which we've heard a little bit about before day 16. All the way back on day 1, we heard from Paul and Erin O'Keefe, John's brother and sister-in-law. And they testified about a number of things, one of those being an incident that happened in Aruba around New Year's Day 2022, so earlier in that same month that John died. Paul and Erin were in Aruba at the same time as Karen and John, but essentially on the opposite side of the island. So what they could testify to about the incident actually was really limited.
Etta testified that John was in the lobby, seemingly intoxicated and stumbling, and gave her a hug. And then as she was walking away, she heard John's name being screamed in the lobby and something like, "Who the fuck is that?" And he was like, "Calm down." When I'm saying he was like, she was like, this is how the testimony came in. "Calm down. That's Laura's little sister." And then she was like, "Go fuck yourself." And then Etta was like, "Well, fuck you too." And that's really all they spoke. And then Etta told her sister Laura, "I don't know if you guys like John O'Keefe's new girlfriend, but she sucks."
They had a misunderstanding, right? They had some tension. She was upset. She was angry. She was all of this, right? She is super unhappy about this. And then she figures it out. She figures out that, hey, it didn't happen.
Karen was acting in a way we didn't like. Karen seemed jealous. Karen seemed possessive. Karen seemed something. Karen seemed upset. That's what it sounds like to me. And I got to tell you, frankly, all this drinking I'm hearing about, probably not going to be flying real strong with me either. This is just not a good scene. It really sounds like a freaking frat party New Year's. I wouldn't enjoy being there personally. Not my scene at all.
And examples of the defendant's big generosity to the people around her is something that makes me think she's not money hungry. When she has it, she seems to like to share it. If anything, this shows generosity, grace, and a certain degree of understanding that it's kind of on her to get into the good graces of the people who have been important in John's life for a long time and not the other way around. It's the opposite of entitlement, essentially.
I guess she thinks it goes to potential motive and that even John O'Keefe knew that Karen Reed was jealous. That's all I can really think of. I don't think it's appropriate necessarily that it came in because I think it's pure propensity evidence. She was jealous in the past, so she must be jealous in the future. I think it's kind of wild.
You know what, though? Here's the thing, and I will grant, yes, this is all being used to show Karen is a fucking psychopath. And she's super, super territorial. And she was jealous of John. And she was mad at him still. And she's like, "Fuck you, John, I'm going to kill you." Or didn't care when she ran him over. So that's why they're showing this stuff. And yeah, it's painting the picture. It's painting the picture.
This is the only thing, other than the little smears that Jen McCabe tried to throw out there about Ashley, what's her name? Bella's mom, and then the other woman, who the hell is that? Who's that? Basically just trying to make her, sound like a jealous lady.
This seems like such a non-starter. Like, this seems like such a minor issue. A month prior, they have a blow up and they resolve it. And then they're still together a month later. And a month later, they are seen and apparently being super affectionate. She apparently says, "I was in the wrong. I fucked up. I got it wrong." And she was offering to pay part of her room costs as an apology.
Now, for the prosecution, this Aruba incident was a story that was set up as an expectation. Just wait until you hear the details of this incident. When you hear it, you're going to be convinced that Karen had a strong motive to kill John because they were on the verge of breaking up because of this. But by the end of day 16, we finished hearing from these two sisters, and I'm just like, that's it?
So let me tell you what I was thinking when the judge read this, and it's like, you can't use the defendant's prior bad acts against her or to make her think she has the propensity to commit the crime that she's charged. It's just for motive, for state of mind, whatever. So I kind of thought where this was going was Karen Reed got jealous and punched John O'Keefe or hit him or something like that. There was some physical altercation that shows jealousy is capable of making her hit somebody. And so I kind of like, that's where my mind started going. What are we going to hear? What is this?
In the absence of some kind of pattern of like an abusive relationship, an abusive dynamic, if we had like a DV behavior specialist or something like in here giving us an opinion that this is an abusive relationship and here's patterns of coercive control and yada yada, and I can tell this by, looking at their communications, looking at their interactions, so on and so forth, maybe in a little bit of a different situation, because her state of mind a month before would be part of that pattern. It would be relevant to establishing that type of pattern. We don't have anything like that at all.
I gotta say, I was expecting to see some real fireworks. I was expecting to hear that like Karen Reed threatened to kill him. I was expecting to hear that Karen Reed threw objects at him or hit him or or something.
How believable is it that that's the thing that leads to murder? To me, in this situation, it just doesn't fit. But as I always say, I'm just one person. And this jury is made up of 12 people.
Something on this. And I'm just like, or maybe that these two got into a fight, that they, that she scratched her face or whatever else. And I'm like, really? That's it? She thought that he might have been cheating and then she figured out it wasn't? I was like, this is the motive? Like, your motive for a murder is this dog shit?
If you do something wrong, I think the right thing to do is apologize and try to make up for it. I think you should try not to do the wrong things, right? You should try not to, scream at people drunkenly and, be jealous and whatever. But if you do that, I think the appropriate thing is to apologize. That's not to say, and to me, that's where I struggle a little bit with this testimony. I'm not sure how it applies necessarily to what happened on January 28th.
It's one thing to apologize to your partner for causing harm. That requires a person to check their ego, of course. But to be willing to go outside of the relationship and extend the apology further to someone that you really don't even know, that really requires someone to have accepted that they were wrong and to really take a slice of humble pie. But Karen's offered to pay for at least part of the room charge, and that she apparently did pay for that part of the cost is another way that she did show some penance.
There was a motion in limine. We were calling them motions in lemonade because that's what the closed captions called them one day, and it kind of stuck. There was a motion in lemonade made about all of this Aruba business that was testified to at the grand jury that was used to indict Karen Reed on murder charges. So not only this woman, Laura Sullivan, but her sister Marietta, that she's going to talk about next, both testified in front of the state grand jury that was used to indict Karen Reed on upgraded murder charges. Defense made a motion to say, we don't think any of this Aruba stuff should come into the trial because it's highly prejudicial. Number one, it happened New Year's Eve, which was 29 days or 28 days prior to the murder of Officer John O'Keefe. It's highly irrelevant. It's prejudicial, and it's more prejudicial than probative. Well, that motion was denied by the judge, and the judge said, well, I'm going to allow it, but I'm going to give the jury a curative instruction.
If I am the defense, I take this testimony about the Aruba incident, I flip it and reverse it, right? Because what I say is, members of the jury, we don't even know if Karen Reed was jealous on the night of January 28th, the morning of January 29th. Nobody said that she was jealous. Nobody said she did anything to prove that she was jealous. Because when Karen Reed's jealous, she lets you know. She lets the person she's jealous of know, because we know the sister who's about to come up knew that she was jealous. She lets John O'Keefe know she's jealous and anyone else around that can hear her screaming about it. And when she is jealous, what does she do? She screams. And then she apologizes. She doesn't hit John O'Keefe with a car. She doesn't hurt people when she's jealous. That's what I would do. That's what I would argue. The door's open at this point. The judge let all this in.
If the Commonwealth brings John's niece and nephew into this, and they are on the witness list, and he said in his opening statement, they're going to come in and testify about this. If the Commonwealth brings those kids in, and the Commonwealth has not otherwise absolutely knocked down technically how all of this makes sense, that Karen Reed hit him with the car, going at what speed, causing what injuries, et cetera, et cetera. If there is any doubt about that whatsoever, what Mr. Lally is doing with putting those kids on the stand is potentially criminal. I mean, I don't mean really. I just mean it's so freaking bad. It is so abusive to young people to put them in a position like that, to turn them against somebody who had been in a caregiver position.
Okay.